Yeah,
and
I saw when I went as well on your website, there was a lot,
yeah,
is a lot of different styles, different from landscape to paint to portrait to abstract, and it's really, obviously it's really interesting, and to understand even how can you approach all these different styles. And now I can understand, because obviously like, you're trying to, you just trying out, and it's really
yes,
fun to hear that. And sometimes you get
yeah,
stuck as an artist, you get stuck in your style, you get
yeah,
stuck in your
yeah.
in what you can do and what you're supposed to do, and you don't give it a shot, and it's a shame sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's interesting. You use the word "supposed to do,"
Yeah.
whereas I don't, if you read the introduction to myself, it's my mantra, which is the Hockney phrase: is I paint what I please, when I please, and where I please. and and I and it's not to sound aggressive about it. It's because for me, I think even if I'd started earlier, although you change as you get older,
Mm.
um, for me, honing a particular style, I'm not I'm not obsessing about anymore,
Mm.
because I think I'm mood driven rather than style driven,
Oh, okay.
if
Okay.
that makes
So it's
sense.
more, it's more what you feel like to do than what you're supposed to
Yeah.
do, like what you good at it, or you just, if you
Yeah,
think like.
well, the thing is, I'm trying to, and I think when I was teaching, I was always saying that. So your voice is very important,
Mm.
um, and and I always used to say, don't pigeonhole yourself.
Mm.
And I think that's and for me, I haven't got time to pigeonhole myself because I get so excited by people like lots of artists, because for me, other artists are a resource to my ongoing learning.
Mm.
And I think that's why my Instagram profile, I say I'm eclectic. um, and I think at first, when I first made my account public on Instagram, I found it embarrassing
Yeah, it's
because
it's really
because
difficult putting stuff out there, and yeah.
yeah, but now I think probably as a result of being in lockdown, it's not important to me. I don't know how you feel about things like that. Do
Mm.
you feel that you need to be shoehorned?
No, it's more for what I am right now in my practice. It's more try to find my way of saying what I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really interested in a human form, in portrait, in people, and
Mm.
I do tackle sometimes like some social problems,
Issues.
which yeah,
Mm-hmm.
issue that I think that it's as an artist, it's good if you wanna talk about it, and if you wanna express yourself through art. So, and people, it's really more what I've been driven during my practice, and I find it really difficult to jump out that little box that that's portrait. But for example, actually, this is really interesting, like some come out. My last exhibition that I did in Bristol was just before the lockdown, and for the first time I did a few exhibitions before, and I always exhibit portrait drawings, but it was always portrait driven. um, and like into my circle, people knew what they knew what they were expecting to go and see in my
Mm-hmm.
exhibition, because obviously that's what I've been doing for like
Mm-hmm.
years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But I did decide to put like a sort of installation,
Mm-hmm.
um, which nobody did expect that, and
Expect,
it
yeah.
was yeah, it was really scary for me. It was a little bit of rush of like adrenaline, because it was like the first time I was exhibiting my portrait, because I was like, oh, I don't know how people are gonna take. But after a while, you kind of lose that. And exhibiting that different of like installation, for example, in my case, I got the rush again. I was like, oh, I'm curious to see what people are gonna say to me about that, because they are not gonna expect anything like that from me. And it was really interesting to hear, obviously, like people talking to me and asking me about it. And it was, yeah, it's difficult to jump out what you usually
But I
do.
think that's really important because
Yeah.
I did a sort of like a self review a few weeks ago, and I was just thinking, you know, what do I want my art to do? And I think essentially I want my art to surprise and engage. And the surprise could be through the color, could be through the subject matter, it could be through the title even, but also by engaging. And it's a way I would like to move towards is to introduce more narrative, because like you, surprisingly, I'm although not evident at the moment, I'm interested in portraits because I find people fascinating.
Yeah.
And I would like to introduce more of a narrative into what I want, into what I do. And I've actually I've made quite a lot of notes and sort of little thumbnail sketches on things that I want to work towards.
Yeah, it's
for the
really
future.
it's really important for especially a creative person to challenge yourself and bring your mind to think about again, and about your subject and why you're doing art, and why you're doing art in that way. And always questioning yourself, always asking yourself, and obviously jumping from a media to another, from a subject to another, could be that challenge that brings your creativity alive again. And it's really important, so important, to
And I think,
basically.
and you probably found that when you had your portrait exhibition with your installations, people will start looking at it relatively,
Yeah,
just say,
yeah, yeah.
and just seeing and probably seeing some of what you do in the installation, what they expected from you in this installation, but you pushed the boundary, haven't you?
Yeah. Push your personal boundary. Yeah, it's true. And yeah, it's always
and you've pushed the perception as well, haven't you?
It's completely like even if it's completely different subject, but it's from the same person, from the same artist. So it's revealing another side of you to the audience that they did not expect from me in my case. And it was really interesting to see the reaction, and people were just surprised and happy to see something new and different from me. And it was really good. It just pushed me to believe in doing more and more and more in different stuff, which I'm trying to do. It's just like really scary to put stuff out there. I just keep in my in my little corner.
I'm finding it scary because in fact there's something in my email asking me to submit work for something else which I can't talk about at the moment. But I'm doing. We have, as you have in London, we have open art studios, and someone invited me to exhibit with her.
Nice.
And I went from being very excited to
yeah, of course.
and in fact I've been invited to exhibit in 5 other locations this year, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, I'm going to make a fool of myself. But it's this whole thing of the imposter syndrome that we have as artists, isn't it?
Yeah.
That should I be here?
Yeah, it's always like you never you never think of yourself that you deserve that, and you deserve to be
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
center of the attention of
yeah,
everybody in that night.
yeah.
Yeah.